I'm trying not to become that channel that focuses on the war in Ukraine and be nothing but content about that because there's any of 1,000 other channels that do a much better job than I ever could. People that are actually living in Ukraine or living in Russia, given their vantage point of things here. But I just heard the speech that Vladimir Putin, whatever you want to call him, I call him Putin. Um, just heard Vladimir give his speech at the Eastern Economic Forum, and sorry, thinking about the speech made me want to vomit. Um, he said how Russia has lost nothing as far as the special operations that's going on in Ukraine right now. They've lost nothing. And the one thing they've gained is the sovereignty and the cohesive sovereignty of the Russian state right now. Now, I had to watch it again because I'm like maybe he meant something else as far as saying that we've lost nothing as far as the actions in Ukraine go. Because I'm like, you have tens of thousands of men that many of which you didn't even tell where they were going, you just threw them right into the meat grinder. And they died for your country that you are the leader of. And the only thing you can say about it is nothing has been lost in the actions taking part in the Ukraine right now. Um, I mean, I don't want to sound too over the top, but has a world leader said something more heinous than that? Like, I mean, okay, yeah, but like they like someone might have said something like like Hitler is speaking about the Jews or something. Okay, I get that, but you know that's him speaking from his ideology that he truly believed in, whereas there's stone cold facts, and the Russian government has even acknowledged that there are many Russian troops dying, and they are referred to as nothing. Nothing has been lost in Russia. Like, he's not just talking about land. Like, he's not saying, like, oh, the Ukrainians haven't taken over any land in Russia, so, none of that is lost yet. Like, no, just he was speaking about, and unless the subtitles were completely wrong, but I think they would have been corrected by now, that nothing has been lost in the actions of the Ukraine, and nothing will be lost. I forgot to point that out. He says in the future, nothing will be lost due to the actions in Ukraine. Now, forget all of the stuff that's pulled out. Forget all of the companies that have pulled out of Russia, because he sees that as that was just influence from non-Russian entities, so we're better off without them. Okay, that's fine. I could see if he was directly talking about something like that, saying, hey, fine, we just want to be Russia for Russia. Russia for Russians. Okay, I can accept that. Have at it. Do best of luck with that. But the fact that he's talking about the totality of all the actions resulting in nothing being lost for his country right now, and the tens of thousands of soldiers that are dead for your war, Vladimir, for your special military action, Vladimir, I mean, the Moskva, the command ship of the Black Sea Fleet is gone. Like, what is that? That was nothing? That was nothing? I like the meme where it says the Moskva isn't lost. It just got naval promotion to submarine. All this stuff that's lost, and the fact that this guy is now, to this day, buying weapons from North Korea because they're running low on arms. Now, I can understand, like, at a different day and age, this actually being accepted, but I refuse to believe that the Russian people are that brainwashed and that stupid that something like this isn't going to stick up their craw and do something about it. Because as this war continues on, all the polls are showing from actual Russian citizens that the favorability for these special military actions are being disapproved of. How can it fly in the face of Russians that this guy is saying nothing? Any one of you mothers and fathers, brothers, sisters, friends, any family members directly or indirectly, then anyone that you knew over in Ukraine that died for Russia, that wore a Russian military uniform, if they hopefully got one, anyone that died fighting for the motherland, they were nothing. Nothing of value was lost there. We still have the motherland intact, and that's all that matters. We have our sovereignty as the Russian state. How idiotic is this going to get? Again, I can understand a different day and age where something like the internet and immediate transparency of issues isn't available for anyone to find immediately. But who does he think he's kidding at this point? And yes, I know there will always be a contingent of people in Russia that will defend Vladimir Putin no matter what. No matter what. I get it. It's just like in America when things get politicized. You can have a cure for AIDS that gets discovered by the Republicans, and trust me, there will be Democrats that have a problem with it. Just because some Republican, like if a senator somehow discovered the cure for AIDS, like just suspend your disbelief and say that happened. There would be the Democrats that have a problem with it, and the transverse would be the same. So yes, I get it that there will always be people that are supportive of the Russian state or fearful of the Russian state that will just go along and willingly agree. But how the hell is there not enough people disrupted in this country right now? And yes, I understand that Russia is this tried and true nation that has suffered in the face of suffering. Like, if there's a country that knows suffering throughout the past 100+ years, Russia is it. Maybe not the it, but it can hold its own to any other country that has suffered. But to have quote-unquote democracy and the Iron Curtain down, the influx of all these businesses and the way of life that they're accepting, like, people act like Russia is like, oh, okay, they'll live without McDonald's and Mercedes and all that stuff. But yeah, well, their people were buying Mercedes and going to McDonald's every single day. So it ain't like they didn't like that shit. They bought it by the boatful. They love the way of life that they see on the other side of the world because they want to accept it. They go see those movies in the movie theater and over the Russian crap that gets put on the screen. They want Coca-Cola and they want to drive Mercedes. If they didn't, that shit wouldn't sell there. And it has been selling like gangbusters the past 20+ years there, and not now. So you have like a big 20-year cluster of society that got spoiled with all that stuff. And you could say that's worthless material shit, but bottom line is they wanted it over there. If they didn't want it, they wouldn't have bought it and they wouldn't have accepted it. And they did over there in Russia. So don't give me this, oh, it's just capitalist crap. They're better off without it. Well, they wanted it. They wanted it and they ate it up and they bought it up. So you have this 20-year cluster of society that was willing to accept the ways of Europe, the ways of North America, all that good shit. They want democracy like they see in Europe and North America. And now they're going to revert back to the Soviet Union, and there's not that big enough of an uproar just to overturn this whole system now? I'm going to giggle my ass off when Russia ends up losing Crimea. And I pray to the heavens above and beyond and whatever is existing up there, that they lose all the areas that they took in the eastern part of Ukraine, and I hope they lose Crimea on top of that, because before this war started, at least Russia had control of Crimea. What will Vladimir Putin say to his people if this ends and he gets less control of the Ukraine? And props to the Ukrainian people, because honestly, they are fighting a pseudo war here for America and the Western world, for that matter, because we're establishing our ways and means and saying how we can stand up to China, to a Russia, That's why there's such a pissing contest with Taiwan right now. Um, this is basically a pseudo war that we're helping fight. And honestly, we could help end this very quick with Ukraine, but let's be real. We're only giving the Ukraine so much to fight with because honestly, it'll do more damage to make this last longer. It's going to cost more Russian lives to make this last longer. And it may be sick and perverse to think that, but that is the way it is. The fact that that whole Dnieper the Dnieper River region is cut off, all those bridges are cut. They can't get supplies into the 20,000 plus Russian soldiers that are now being encircled, pushed to their backs to a river that they can't get across. That they're starving and thirsting to death because they can't even get water or food right now. You think that isn't by design? That we're giving them the capabilities, they're giving the capabilities to Ukraine to slowly take over that region west of the Dnieper River, north and west, I should say. Russia is getting everything they deserve. I feel bad, kind of, for the Russian soldiers because they have such an idiotic guy that is so clouded by his judgment that can't go back on anything, that he has to force more people into the meat grinder. Because not even they deserve that. Even if the Russians want to support someone like Vladimir Putin, they don't deserve to get thrown into the meat grinder the way they are right now. And it is going to be such a bloody bloodbath. Each day now, the Ukrainians are liberating villages where outposts were just left. Barricades were just left by the Russians. They're fleeing, they're running because they're hungry, they're thirsty, and they don't want to die for nothing. I can't believe that Vladimir Putin said what he said. And again, I know it was overdone to say like that was like, the most ridiculous thing a world leader's ever said. No, someone's going to bring up something that like Mao Zedong said or something like that. Like I get that there's people that killed a lot more people that were leaders of nations, but for your own people to be dying and refer to them as nothing, and the actions that are going on as nothing is lost for Russia right now. Shame on you, Vladimir Putin. Shame on you. Again, the one thing that has me worried is that this guy, he doesn't give a shit. And what's to say he doesn't give a shit about turning a nuclear mess land out of any of the nuclear power facilities in Ukraine, just saying like, well, enjoy your nuclear wasteland now. If we're going to be forced out, then you're going to live in complete cancer-filled suffering. Or they're just going to use tactical nukes themselves or ballistic nukes, whatever. He obviously doesn't give a shit what the world thinks about him, and he doesn't think the world is going to come to him on the motherland. So what would he care about something like that? He thinks his own soldiers dying is nothing, so what's he going to care if he uses nukes and the world opinion drops even lower on him? Jesus Christ. Anyways, I'll pin in the comment that forum that Vladimir Putin spoke on and referred to his soldiers dying as nothing. Anyways, that is all.